So what does it mean that you'll find your twin flame inside of you? And how do you find an inner union? Well, stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to share with you how to find balance between your inner masculine and your inner feminine energies so that you can come into inner harmony and create a successful twin flame relationship. Astrology teaches us that we have shifted from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. And what it really means is we're shifting from a collective energy of masculine energy to feminine energy. We've lived in a masculine world and we're changing more to the feminine side, but we're really just bringing the feminine side into the collective so we can bring balance to the world between the masculine and the feminine collectively. And we do this from the balance of our inside out. So understanding how to balance your inner masculine, your inner feminine energies is so important for you to find the ability to dance through life, period. Not just with your twin flame. Everything is your mirror and your reflection. However, if you want that relationship, it's going to take some self-reflection to bring a union between your own masculine and feminine energies before you can do that in your reality. And I'm going to share with you 3 things today that are key points and components that you can do in order to help bring some of that balance within yourself. And what that's really going to help you do is bring the balance to the wounds that you have so that you're no longer triggered. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and welcome to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate all of the new support that I've received. My name is Dr. Harmony, and I'm a transformational coach, a quantum healer, and I help others that are struggling with separation wounds to find inner union. And on this channel, I share tools, tips, techniques that are going to help you heal those emotions, trust your path, and live your purpose. I post new videos every Thursday, so be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know when all my videos and content come live. And before we get into the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up buttons below. That lets me know that this is the type of video that you would like to see so that I can make more videos for you. And it only takes just a second and it really promotes the information. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the laws of gender. And that is a universal law. And it really says that we have a masculine and feminine counterpart within ourselves that is energy. And that energy must come into balance. And it's a universal alignment. And as the universe aligns, then that also comes not just from the inside out, it comes from the outside in to create like an inner shift within us. That being said, we've lived in the masculine world, as I've mentioned, and I don't know about you all, but me being a divine feminine, or let's just say the feminine counterpart, has been very masculine dominant. My world, my reality, has been a doer. I have been somebody that, I'm on a mission, I'm on a drive, I'm on a bus, and if you're going to catch and get on with me, I'm going to slow down long enough for you to jump on. But if you don't, jump on in time, I'm going to, or get out of the way, I'm going to run you over. That is not me any longer, but that is who I've been. And I've said for me to shift from my masculine energy within, it's been like a wild horse. That I said, I don't really want to be tamed. And not to mention, these things are, cultures and their family plays a role in what we've been taught. Young boys are taught, it's not okay to cry, that saying, you can't cry in baseball. Another thing, mothers have been very controlling and very dominating on these young children growing up in the past. And that has created emotional emasculation between young men. So men have kind of grown up to not be allowed to step into their feminine ability to experience and receive. And the female has been more controlling and more dominating in certain ways. But that's because their own inner feminine also doesn't want to feel, doesn't want to connect, doesn't want to, come out and express and be raw and vulnerable like we're being asked to do. That's very scary. It's very intimidating. It is something that, we try to protect ourselves, shield ourselves, even as women doing this. And so it doesn't matter if you're, male or female, inner feminine has really been wounded. So when it comes to your twin flame, and the world, really, because everyone's your mirror, those reflections are triggering those wounds within you. And the reason they're triggering the wounds and they're triggering the emotions is to bring you into balance with your masculine and feminine energies. And if you can really get this and you can take action in it and you can fully choose to make some of these changes for yourself, then you're going to be ahead of the game, because you'll be bringing yourself into balance and those wounds are going to dissolve and dissipate. That's going to bring wholeness to you, neutrality to your polarities and the inner union. And then you're able to bring your own inner masculine and feminine into harmonization. And that's how you align with your twin flame. And that is our job in the ascension process that we're doing, is to not just bring balance to ourselves, but to bring balance to the world. So one of the first things that can really help you bring this balance is, one, understand the difference and the balance within yourself. It is going to be key for you to be able to understand which one and identify which part of you is operating at which point in given time. Because what we've been doing is sort of operating from a place of one side of ourselves and healing one side at a time, and kind of ping-ponging between healing our inner masculine, healing our inner feminine. And it's creating this sense of like, okay, which action do I take? What do I go with? And then what it is, and I'll talk about this in a minute, it's really just you being able to bring awareness to your dominant energy. Okay, so let's say that I said a while ago, hyper-masculine. To heal that hyper-masculine, we need to cultivate feminine energy. And that means that's where things like meditation, yoga, nature walks, dancing, anything that's creative will really help that hyper-masculine side of yourself bring that hyper-masculine into balance. But if you're being hyper-feminine and you're wounded, you need to feel nurtured, loved, secured. And therefore, what you need to do is learn how to stand in your power. Learn what your truth is. Learn to bring balance to yourself by speaking up for yourself and standing up for yourself in a way that no one else has done for you. And that also means showing up for yourself. Because if you're being abandoned, that means somewhere inside of you, you are abandoning your own self, which is your wounded feminine. So I have a playlist that I created that's Achieve the Inner Union. And so check out the link above and below, because that will get you on board with some of the things I've already talked about in this process, because I've been going through a series of the energy and how that connects within you, and then how that links with your twin flame. So make sure to check that out. So some components that are coming together between that masculine and the feminine inside of you is your left brain being logic, your right brain being intuition, your higher self being more the feminine, your lower self being more of the masculine, your head being more masculine in general, your heart being more feminine, and then also taking that inner state of your inner reality and taking the action that's required to bring it into your reality. So from the inner vibration, being feminine, into the reality takes action, which now is the masculine. And so learning how to find structure while going with the flow, and I call this like a loose structure, free flowing, fun, and flexible. Those have been really a lot of words that I've accumulated that really represents what I'm trying to do in the state of balance. So if you've really been struggling with this idea of doing all this work and you still aren't getting where you need to be, I highly recommend you check out my Ascension Academy in the link above and below, because in that space, I have a community of people that I do live coaching with. And also we have a community and online courses that can really help you take yourself to the next level. So as you create this new identity, you're able to reclaim your power and reclaim all these aspects and bring all of this into balance so you can become your authentic self and bring into your reality the relationship you want, because you have it inside. So the second big thing that you need to do is take some journaling and self-reflection time. So now that you kind of really look at and understand more of the energy and the twin flame balance of the masculine and the feminine, now journal out some of these thoughts, feelings, ideas, emotions, wounds, taking that self-reflection to know when you're triggered. Is that your inner masculine or is that your inner feminine that is needing the assistance? And to be able to discern which part of you needs to show up when and where for you. And what you will discover in doing that over time, you're going to start to see how that reflects to everyone around you, every experience around you. But for the moment, I want you just to think about how triggering these emotions is going to shed light on what it is you need to see, feel, and heal. And what happens is nobody wants to feel this way. And because nobody wants to feel this way, they tend to run from these emotions, run from the feelings, or run from the pain. That is what creates the runner-chaser dynamic. Because somewhere in this, if someone's running from you, you're running from yourself. And I don't care how much work you've done, there's more to do. There's more layers. There's another level. There's deeper aspects. And each time you're going to claim more. And the more light you have, the more it's going to shine onto your shadows to reflect what needs to be healed. And I have a healing trauma for empaths, which is really showing and saying that you're creating these experiences and you are an empath and you're attracting all of this because of your own wounds inside. And so check out that healing trauma for empaths video series that I've done in a playlist in the link above or below, because that's going to help you get a lot of tools and tips you need in order to heal these wounds so that way you can really begin to discern which side of you needs healing, which side of you needs to be heard, which side of you needs to express. And also check out the video of why your twin flame keeps returning, because this is exactly why, but I go into a lot more detail there. So check out that video above and below. If you'd like for me to do a guided meditation on bringing balance to your inner masculine and your inner feminine energies, make sure to leave me a comment in the link below so that I know what to, prepare for you. And I think it would be something that you might find very healing, and I can feel and sense it's more like a 21-day type process. It's not a one-time fix thing. And that is one thing I will say in my Ascension Academy as far as healing your chakras and doing a lot of self-healing and healing the energy in yourself within this and in the chakras. So once you understand more about the energy and how it exists within you and how you need to, listen to both sides of yourself, and then the second part, reflect on that, identify with both sides, and learn what side of you needs what, and you give attention to one side or the other. The third component of this is you need to then learn to balance them. It is really hard to just jump straight to the balance because you're learning from each side. And it's like a pendulum. It's swinging you back and forth. And you're also going through a role reversal. For me, I went more from my hypermasculine to bringing in a healed feminine than to bringing balance between my masculine and feminine. And it really came down to which side of me needs to show up for me in any given moment. And you really have to know thyself to understand that, to know when your inner masculine needs to stand up, show up, and speak up for your inner feminine, so that your inner feminine feels loved, honored, heard, and respected. So writing all of these things down and making a list of your masculine traits, your feminine traits, and then paying attention of your wound state and paying attention of your needs and your values and how and where you need to show up. So I found very quickly in this, through my quantum physics healing background and my scientific mind, is how these things work. Like the energy is truly magnetic, it's truly polarities, and it truly connects in a way that it's a yin and a yang, a positive and negative, and like attracts like in certain ways, but opposites what creates these scenarios. And I talked about that in a twin flame energy connection video. So check that out in the link above or below as well. But to find balance in both of these things, you need to then look for your inner guidance and For instance, when it comes to the masculine ways of having taken like this action that is overbearing, overpowerful, or the energy is so push wise, and maybe even like say in a feminine sometimes might have action, but might be all over the place and has no structure or blueprint or focal point to hone that in to create with it. So that sporadic energy is like a feminine that doesn't know how to ground that energy. Where if you put both of those together, you might need to take the action, but it doesn't have to be random action. It could be inspired action. So I'm going to back up. It doesn't have to be random action or forceful action and direct action or like overbearing action. You can do inspired action. And what I mean by that is, and this is how you get the balance of your masculine and feminine energies. So what I mean by that is, say in my day, I have a lot of certain things that I want to get done. I have a list that I operate from. However, I leave room for flow and flexibility for my day to adjust, move, evolve, change. And then I also will maybe add something in because I got inspired to do it in that moment. It wasn't on the plan. But it didn't throw me off track like it used to would do. And in that inspired action, it really turns out that I actually am more intentional. I actually put more energy into it. And most importantly, I'm enjoying the process rather than barreling through things with no emotion attached to it, no passion attached to it, and just trying to achieve something. Because what we tend to do in those, unhealthy ways is we just kind of want to get through things. We just want to move on with things and we want to get to some destination, but the destination is not going to ever end. So it's embracing the journey. It's enjoying the process. And so taking the inspired action when you need to would be a way to bring these things into balance between your masculine and your feminine energies as you go with the flow, but have some loose structure. So something else that's really important in this, when I mentioned earlier, I'm going to re-clarify this, that you're swinging the pendulum and you're learning one side from your masculine in order to slow down and meditate and do yoga and all these things. And you're learning from your feminine side to bring in more of the masculine by coming into more of your power and feeling more confident and showing up and having more structure. And then between the two, then you're doing both actions is the point I want to say. So you are doing it from your masculine and your feminine in like the same action. So when I talk about the inspired action, that's using your masculine and your feminine energy in balance. Now, you will not stay in that kind of sync forever all the time. You will swing in and out of both sides and you will vacillate between the two, especially as you transition from one to the other, because you're moving away from an old identity to a new one, and it takes time to evolve into that. And that is where we have test and timing and trust to show us that we're on the right path, and to stop looking back and focusing on the past and staying stuck to what's not working, and really knowing what it is you want and putting your energy there and, praising yourself along the way and being proud of yourself. And most importantly, choosing that you are in control, you are in power of your own emotions, and you're whole, complete, and healed. So for me, I look at that as I'm more decisive now, and I have compassion in the process. And that brings humility to everyone around me because I have more, of that sense of understanding who and where people are. I went to get a new phone over the weekend, and there was a whole trail of things, but by the time I got to get it fully activated with my service provider, I show up like 10 minutes early, and the guy was like 15 minutes late, and he said it's going to take 15 minutes to get everything turned on, and all I could do was sit there and be like, all is well in my world, and like there's a reason for this, and I find that this is not happening to me, it's happening for me, but most importantly, I also am showing up to be an example to other people, where some people would have been super, upset that they had to wait or been all over the person or, say things in frustration. We can really be an example of our light in motion. So at the end of the day, make it your intention to know when to take action, when to pause, know when to speak up, know when to listen. Bringing the energies into balance doesn't have to be this, testing trial thing. You can learn in it to embrace it and to align with your true self that's going to bring the balance in you with the inner harmony, which is the inner union. And because you are bringing those masculine and feminine polarities into balance with yourself, that is where you find the twin flame journey, is the balance of your inner masculine and feminine energies that will align with the one that aligns with you whole, complete, and healed. Like I mentioned, make sure to watch the other videos and check out all the information I have below. And I also have a twin flame detachment playlist in the link below and above if you'd like to learn more about how to let go of the attachment that you have and you're still hung up connecting and clinging to the person versus taking responsibility for yourself. So if you enjoyed this video and you want more videos like this, be sure to comment below so that I know to make another video for you. And I really hope you enjoyed this information. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know whenever all my videos come live. And if you'd like to learn more daily tips and tools and techniques on how to create an inner union, make sure to follow me over at Instagram and Facebook at Twin Flame Expert. And if you'd like to learn more about me, my programs, and how to work with me, you can learn more and visit my website at twinflameexpert.com. And I'll see you in the next video.